So there is a plush version of Springtrap in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 called Plushtrap. If you have been watching my videos, you noticed I made my own version of the Springtrap in plush form a few months ago, but in this video, let's make the actual one. I will show you how to make this posable plush trap and even the chair, so let's jump right into it. Here are all the materials I used. We will need to mix yellow, chocolate brown, and green clay to get a dirty greenish brown color clay. We also need white, black, and lighter brown clay. I use Premo brand for this. White and black acrylic paints, a brush, olfa knife, a ruler, 3 toothpicks, a small piece of chipboard, and a cotton. These can be found at crafting art stores. Try to get 1/16 inches thick for both in order to have an easy cutting with the olfa knife. Also need a cutting mat for protecting your table from cutting. Super glue, 22 gauge wire and a cutting plier, flat blade and x-acto knife, ball dotting and a needle tube, rolling pin, a piece of paper towel for textures, size 0 silicone shapers and a round flat end too. These are optional to have. Check the description box for information on where to buy these materials. You can pretty much find them online for cheaper price. We will make the head first. Roll out a ball of the mixed clay and cut a portion off. Use your thumb to press in on the sides to give the head a bit more shape. Take a smaller ball of the same color clay and roll it into a log. If the size is a bit big, you can cut the extras off. Use a tool to blend the snout onto the face. You can use a toothpick to do this if you don't have the tools that I use here. Smooth out the seams to give the head a uniform look. Use a ball tool to indent the eye sockets and fill them in with black clay. Use a dotting tool to spread the clay out in the eye sockets. Then make some cuts around the rim of the eye sockets. Take some white clay and roll it into an oval shape instead of a ball shape. I'm not going to put the iris on the eyes with the clay. Instead, I will pin them on after baking to maintain the roundness of the eyes. Indent a hole on the snout for the nose. Make some cuts on the snout. If the snout seems a bit narrow like here, add some clay to it and smooth out the seams. For the lower jaw, flatten a ball of the mixed clay and check to see if the size fits the head. Make any adjustments that you need and use a tool to define the angular jaw, like so. Once the lower jaw's shape is defined, detach it from the head. Roll out a piece of white clay with a rolling pin and cut out a long and narrow strip to be placed under the head. This will be the teeth. Cut out a small rectangle to fill in the gap on the back side of the mouth. Now we can attach the lower jaw and take x-acto knife to score the lines for the teeth. Start by making a horizontal line across the white clay and then make a zigzag cut on it. This way, Plushtrap will look like he has pointy teeth. Here are the ears. Roll out a log of the mixed clay and flatten it with the flat blade first before cutting it into segments. Roll out a piece of the brown clay and cut out 6 pieces of rectangle shapes. Place each one on top of the mixed clay. There is a total of 6 pieces for the ears. Cut out a short piece of the 22 gauge wire and insert it on the head. This is to secure the ears from breaking or falling off. Plushtrap has his ears bent, so for easier attachment, cut one end at an angle. Here is how the ears look like. Now we are moving on to the body. The proportion of this Plushtrap is more of a chibi proportion, so the height of the body is about the same height as the head, but narrower. Make a teardrop shape for the body and roll out the brown clay to be placed on the tummy. Make a triangular shape for the hip area. It's pretty small, so make sure to check the proportion back and forth with the rest of the body. To make this into a posable figure, we need to indent the joint area for the legs. So make a deep hollow socket with the ball tooth that is about the same size as the legs. Roll out a long coil of the mixed clay and check the thickness of it before cutting by placing it into the joint socket. Then cut it to the appropriate length. Notice that the top of the leg has to be round in order to fit into the joint socket. Round off the cut edges for a softer look. Use a wire to poke through each part of the legs. The feet are big, which is good for supporting the weight of Plushtrap, so make a teardrop shape, then press it flat on the wider round end with your thumb. Use a tool to make the divisions for the toes. Now take a wire and start attaching all the parts for the legs. Attach the legs to the joint socket. This is to make the hole for the wire so that we can detach the legs in the future for making different poses. Let's move on to the arms. The cylinder parts are the same as the legs. For the cute little hands, roll out a small piece of clay and flatten it, then cut out 4 coils for the fingers. Cut one end of the thumb at an angle for easier attachment. Attach the pieces together for the arm and poke holes on the solder area for the wires. From the images of Plushtrap that I see online, he has textures on him, so to make those textures, I found paper towel gives off a pretty organic texture on the clay, so take a piece of the paper towel and start pressing it on the clay. Make some cuts on Plushtrap to give him a torn look. If the texture from the paper towel is not as visible, we can use a small dotting tool to go in and make some more textures. We just need some here and there, so don't go crazy on it. Make some more cuts on Plushtrap's body parts. Insert a wire for attaching the head to the body, but detach it when baking. Now that all the parts are finished, it's time to bake them in the oven. If you are new to baking Polymer clay, I have a video on it. The link is in the description box. So here are the baked pieces and they have already cooled. So now we just have to assemble the parts together. Use a plier to help bending the wire for the arms and the legs. Here I'm going to pin the iris on with black acrylic paint and a dotting tool. If the arms are too loose, put some super glue on the wire to restrict some of the movements. You can choose to pin the wire black. I only pinned it this part. Now we are done with assembling Plushtrap. It's time to make the chair. Here I have already cut out the pieces. The size of these will have to depend on the size of your Plushtrap. The dimensions for the chipboard piece that I have here is 1 inch by 1.5 inches and the basswood column is 1.5 inches in length. You can find these materials at craft and art stores. I recommend that you use a 1/16 inches thick for both materials because they are easier to cut by hand. Also ask an adult or your older siblings for help when using the olfa knife to cut the pieces for the chair if you are too young to use olfa knife. Use a ruler to measure the dimensions and I recommend cutting the pieces on a cutting mat to prevent from cutting your table. To glue the pieces together, use super glue since it dries really fast and pretty strong. You don't need a whole lot of super glue, just a dab is strong enough to hold the pieces together. Be careful not to have super glue on your hands. If you do, soak your hands in a warm water to get rid of it. For the parts in between the chair legs, it's best to measure and mark where you need to cut. You can use a pencil to mark it. For the sake of showing how to cut the wood, I'm cutting it on this tile. Super glue the pieces on. Here is what the chair looks like. Now take the toothpicks and cut off the pointy ends. It's a bit harder to cut this because of the round surface, so be very careful when cutting this. Measure where you need to cut off before cutting the other ends of the toothpick. Now we are ready to paint this with acrylic paint. Make sure the paint is not thick. If it is thick, you can add some water to it. Apply the paint all over the chair. You have to apply several coats on this to get an opaque layer. Let the first layer dry first before painting again. This chair is all finished and dried. Now Plushtrap can sit on it. Use a plier to help bend the wire on the legs. Adjust the position and now we have a sitting Plushtrap. You can make him stand up or sit and with his arm and turn his head. I hope this tutorial helps you to make your own. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it. Here are 2 other versions of Springtrap that you can check out if you are interested. There is a previous video on Draw Cute Bonnie if you haven't watched it already. Also subscribe to Aussie Rush channel for more videos so that I can continue to make more contents for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and keep crafting. Bye!